Hello everyone, I'm Alia Dibu. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be continuing my book series and I'm also continuing my Harry Potter series, and today I'm going to be reviewing the second book, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. It's written by J.K. Rowling. It costs 500 rupees and it's also published by Bloomsbury on 2nd July 1998. Now let's move on to the book review. So the book starts off with Harry and the Dursley family in their house. They're having breakfast, and Harry's already in trouble because of his owl. Hedwig was making a lot of noise, which like kind of woke up Mr. Dursley. And nobody remembered that it was Harry's birthday. Nobody really cared about that either, and Harry was really upset because his friends were not messaging him or giving him letters. Ron had promised Harry that he would invite Harry to his house, the Burrow, for to get him away from the Dursleys, but he didn't get a single message or letter, and he was really upset about that. So, another important thing, which was important to the Dursleys, were happening on that day, and that was that a really rich family, like it's like a really rich builder family. The husband is like a builder, was gonna come over to the Dursley family's house because Mr. Dursley runs a company that makes drills, and if they impress the builder family, their names are Mr. and Mrs. Mason. The husband and wife are coming over. If they impress them, Mr. Dursley is gonna get the biggest deal of his life. So everyone's in preparation, and Harry's job is to make no noise and pretend like he does not exist in his room. And while he's trying to do that, he goes up to his room and he meets this little creature, this guy over here. Pretty cute, huh? He's a house elf and his name is Dobby. And Dobby tries to warn Harry, saying, "You're not allowed to go to Hogwarts, you'll get in trouble, there's a plot." And while doing that, house elves are like kind of servants for some wizarding families, so Dobby has some serious trauma from his wizarding family, and he can't really run away from him because he has to be set free by the wizarding family. So there's nothing that we can really do about it. And because of his trauma, he's like really not used to be anyone being nice to him. So when Harry offers him to sit and like saying please and stuff to him, he like kind of makes a scene, and it causes Mr. Dursley to get up and scold Harry. And eventually, when Dobby realizes that Harry's not listening to him, he goes downstairs to Mr. and Mrs. Mason and the Dursley family and drops and lifts like this pudding that Mrs. Dursley had made, and drops it on to Mrs. Mason, and then Dobby just goes away. He can teleport and stuff. So and then an owl delivers a message from the Ministry of Magic by dropping it on Mrs. Mason's head, and that was the end. The deal was officially over because Mrs. Mason was really afraid of birds. And Mr. Dursley read the message, and it said that yeah, there was an magic being used in the house, and underage wizards are not be allowed to use. And no, Harry didn't tell the Dursley family that he was not allowed to use, so that he could kind of threaten them a little bit. But now the secret was out and he couldn't do anything about it, and he was locked in his room, and I think he only got fed on the third day or something. He got fed some soup, which he drank half and then gave the rest to Hedwig. And while he was sleeping, Ron Weasley, his best friend, and Ron's twin siblings, Fred and George, came over to rescue him, and they tried their best to not make any noise, but Harry nearly forgot Hedwig, and Hedwig made a really loud noise, which woke Mr. Dursley up, and he tried to like not allow Harry to go with the Weasleys by pulling on his ankles, but eventually they were able to get away, and they were off to the burrows. Quick angle change, and we're back on track. So when they reach the burrows, Mrs. Weasley is obviously furious, and she scolds them and gives them punishment to like denome the garden, and she's really nice to Harry, but Harry also helps out in denoming the garden, and sit down for breakfast, and the Mr. Weasley sees Harry, and he's like, "Who's this?" And they're like, "It's Harry Potter." And the first thing that Mr. Weasley asks is, "How do rubber ducks work, or what is the function of rubber ducks?" And I thought that was really funny. But Mrs. Weasley gets Arthur Weasley, that is Mr. Weasley, to scold the kids. But and then we meet Ginny, Ron's little sister, who kind of has a crush on Harry. And then they all get their Hogwarts letters, and they can see that most of the books that they have to buy are from this dude, Gilderoy Lockhart. He's this I guess he's like this wizard author that says, and he's like really handsome and he's blonde, and there's like pretty smile, and almost all women are like fans of him, including Mrs. Weasley. So, but his books are kind of expensive, so when they see that most of the books on the list are his, the Weasleys are a bit worried. But still, they go to Flourish and Blotts and they meet up with Hermione. And while there, Gilderoy, or I'm just gonna call him Lockhart, notices Harry and takes a picture with him. And after that, they see Draco Malfoy and his father. Draco's like can't even go to a bookshop without making the front page, and his father is equally as mean. And he's kind of like sort of bullying Ginny by taking books out of her cauldron and putting books back in, like, and it's like says to Ginny that take this girl. Then he takes the book and like puts it back. It's like take this girl. This is all your father can offer, and he's just being really mean for like no reason. Anyways, after that, they're all set and ready to go to Hogwarts, and Harry and Ron are the last ones to get on to platform 9 3/4. But they look at the clock and they like try to, and there was like a minute left to get onto the platform, and they like do the thing. They run into the barrier between platform 9 and platform 10, but it doesn't work. They kind of crash into the barrier, and when they look at the clock, they see that the time is over. The train leaves at exactly 11 o'clock, and it was already 11, so they kind of missed the train. And eventually, instead of making a proper decision, they decide to steal the magic car that the Weasley twins and Ron used to save Harry, to fly all the way over to Hogwarts. And of course, they're like kids, they don't know how to drive car. So they crash into the tree, the Whomping Willow, and that tree actually is like its branches like hits and stuff. So the car is completely wrecked, and Ron's wand is broken, and they're all overall in trouble. And but Snape finds them, so they're already, you can imagine how much of a trouble they're in. But eventually, Albus and Minerva, which is Mrs. McGonagall, like finds them and kind of saves them. Professor McGonagall gives them detention, but like no house points were taken off. So it's okay. And they meet Hermione, and Hermione also starts scolding them. But by that time, the rumor had already spread out, that they had stolen a car and crashed into the Whomping Willow. But and while Harry and Ron like walked into the corridor, they were like congratulated, and it was like, oh my god, what a wonderful way to enter. And the only two unhappy persons in that room were Percy and Hermione. So they go back to bed, and it's the next morning, and that's when they find out that no, their new professor for the dark arts wasn't just some witch who was a fan of Gilderoy Lockhart. It was actually Gilderoy Lockhart. And the first lesson was herbology, and they had a lesson about mandrakes, and mandrakes are used for curing people who are petrified, but it's also really dangerous itself. And of course, Neville faints, and a lot of stuff happened, but it's over, and they move on to the dark arts, which is like kind of after the evening. And we can see that in the dark arts class, they start off with a quiz just about Gilderoy Lockhart, and Hermione gets, I think Hermione gets most of the questions right, and most of the other students really didn't know anything about anything. And after that, Mr. Lockhart, or Professor Lockhart, I guess, lets go of these pixies for educational purposes, and he has no control over them. So eventually, the students have to step in and save him and also themselves. And then we see Draco Malfoy being really mean and calling Hermione a mudblood, and then Ron tries to like make him eat slugs, but it backfires because his wand is broken. And then Harry learns that some families believe that mudbloods are inferior to purebloods, and that really like was a shock to him, I guess. And after that, a really another shocking thing happens. Mrs. Norris, Mr. Flinch's cat, was found petrified, and there was writing on the wall. And it was, I think it was in chicken's blood. I don't know. It was in, I think it was like a red color. So, and it said like something along secrets like, oh yes, the Chamber of Secrets have been opened, and there was like everyone was kind of afraid because the only person that knew about the Chamber of Secrets or could open the Chamber of Secrets was Salazar Slytherin himself. And now the heir of Slytherin has arrived, and we're all doomed. They'd have to kind of close down the entire school, but they still keep pushing on, and let's just see where this goes. And then during a Quidditch game, a rogue bludger hits Harry's arm, and it turns out to be broken. And then Gilderoy, he's trying to flex and tries to fix Harry's arm, but it instead of that, he makes it like there's no bone inside his arm. His arms were literally rubber, and he had to stay overnight at the medical wing. While in the hospital, Dobby visits him and tells him that it was actually Dobby who did the whole bludger thing, and Harry is obviously really upset. So while in the hospital wing, Harry it gets visited by Dobby, and Dobby reveals that it was actually him who closed the entrance to King's Cross, like onto the train, and also reveals that he's the one who jinxed the bludger. And after that whole thing, Harry's like, "What? Why?" And he's like, Dobby's still trying to make Harry leave Hogwarts, but it's not working. And because of the attacks, the attacks and how everyone's getting petrified, they get a they get a special edition defense class with Gilderoy and Snape as his assistant, and it's really funny. Snape's like, Expelliarmus, and then Gilderoy goes flying off because I don't think he knows how to fight. It's not. I don't think. I know he does not know how to fight. So they eventually, Harry and Malfoy are chosen to be examples, or like the people who are going to be fighting against each other, like dueling against each other. And on, I don't think it was on accident, Draco like summoned a snake, and Harry spoke to it. Yeah, that's right. He can speak parcel tongue, which is like a snake, like a language that is spoken to, like, and snakes understand them, and people, and the only people that can speak parcel tongue is like Salazar Slytherin. So everyone's like, holy shit, are you like related to Salazar Slytherin in any way? But no, he's not. So next, Harry and Ron and Hermione are all suspecting Draco as the heir of Slytherin that opened the Chamber of Secrets because of his hate towards the Mudbloods, or no, not Mudbloods, Muggle-born wizards or witches or Muggle-borns. And they drink this polyjuice potion, and they make it in the girls' bathroom in like the thing that like third floor or something, which no one uses because I think because a girl was found dead there, and like nobody really uses it. And the girl's ghost, we call her Moaning Myrtle, comes in and then drops off this diary of Tom Riddle. And like, no, before that, let me say why they made this polyjuice potion. Polyjuice potion allows you to turn into someone else if you have like their hair or their DNA or something. And they use it to turn into Crabbe and Goyle, Draco's best friends or like henchmen or something, to see if Draco has anything to do with it. But it turns out no, he's just still saying, "Wait till my father hears about this. His father's not gonna do anything." Back to the diary. This diary belongs to Tom Riddle, and that diary takes Harry into a flashback, and Harry sees that the girl, Moaning Myrtle, died, and same thing as what's happening now. The school almost nearly had to be closed down, but Riddle said, if I can to Dumbledore, if I can find what which monster was causing it, will the school still continue? And Dumbledore was like, yeah, I guess. And then he puts the blame on Hagrid. Now we know why Hagrid was expelled, but I don't think it's Hagrid. And besides, the beast that Hagrid was protecting was the spider. I don't think a spider can. Well, yeah, a spider can probably kill people. But what about the petrifying of the cat? What about that, huh? I don't think it was Spider, which is his name is Aragog, by the way. So and he gets transfer and he gets flashbacked back into reality, and he obviously does not believe that it was Hagrid, but he's still confused, like what should we do? So during the next attack, Hermione gets petrified, but she's okay. I think she'll be okay. So and then after the student was hurt, Hagrid gets taken to Azkaban, which is a prison for the bad witches and wizards. And Dumbledore might have to close the school down, but Hagrid had given like some instructions to Harry and Ron. So they go into the Forbidden Forest to find the spider, the Aragog, and ask him like, what was it you? What's going on? And Aragog tries to eat them, obviously, and along with his spider fam or spider troop or group. But Mr. Weasley's car, the Ford Anglia, like saves them in some way. But and then they find out that Hermione had found out that it was actually a basilisk. A basilisk's eyes, if you look directly into them, you'll just turn to stone. But if you see its reflection or something, you'll be petrified. And by the next time the basilisk strikes, Ginny is taken into the Chamber of Secrets. That is, Ginny is Ron's little sister. We got introduced to her. And Harry, Ron, and they force Lockhart also find the Chamber of Secrets in the bathroom that Moaning Myrtle lives in, and they find their way in. And while trying to find out how to get inside, Ron uses his wand, which obviously backlashes because it's broken, causes a rock slide, and Gilderoy faints, and Ron is separated from Harry, and he stays behind to help Gilderoy. And Harry moves on, and he finds that um Ginny is unconscious and on the floor, and he's like trying to wake her up. And then a version of Tom Riddle shows up, and he's like, "Yes, finally you're here, Tom. Do something." But then Tom reveals that he's actually Lord Voldemort by Tom Marvolo Riddle. That's his full name, and he rearranges the letters to form "I am Lord Voldemort." And he is like, the weaker Ginny gets, the stronger I get. So he's not gonna help Harry. It's obviously he's Voldemort. Why would he help Harry? And then he summons the basilisk, and then the super amazing fight plans out. The basilisk is chasing Harry, and then the Phoenix, Dumbledore's Phoenix, like shows up and drops the sorting hat onto like next to Harry. And the Phoenix also like, what is it, how do I explain it, pierce like takes like, oh my god, scratches the basilisk's eye so it can't really kill anyone. And oh my god, I'm tired of calling it Dumbledore's Phoenix. Its name is Hawks, okay? No, not Hawks, Fox, okay? So Fox like is obviously in danger, so he's like tries to fly away. And then Harry doesn't know what to do. Like he obviously had some help. The basilisk is blind now, but he still doesn't know how to defeat it. But eventually, he gets this sword of Godric out of the Gryffindor hat, out of the, not the Gryffindor hat, the sorting hat. and he's able to like uh pierce the top of the basilisk's mouth with the sword, and during that a fang gets stuck inside his arm, so when he pulls out, the fang also comes with him, and he using that fang he destroys Tom Riddle's diary, because that's where his source of power was, I guess. And after that, everything was nearly fine. Tom Riddle was gone and the book was destroyed, and Ginny was returning back to consciousness. But Harry's hand, it was like serious danger. That's when Fox arrives again, and Phoenix tears can like heal. So the fox cries on to Harry's arm and saves Harry. So after that, they somehow find a way to clear the rock slide, and Ginny, Harry, Ron, and Gilderoy like hold on to Fox, and they fly out of the Chamber of Secrets. And then Harry and Ron and Ginny are all welcome back, and Gryffindor House wins the House Cup again, and we're all happy. The end. Honestly, out of the entire Harry Potter series, this is probably the book that I've read like the least. It's not like it's my least favorite or anything, but like after I read it the first time, I never really read it again. But honestly, even though it's well, it's not my least favorite. Like I don't have a least favorite, but if I had to put it at the bottom, it would be this book. Even after that, it's still honestly such a great book, and it has a lot of iconic moments, like one moment that I forgot to mention. So to free a house elf, the master has to give it clothes, and we find out that Dobby actually works for the Malfoy family. And after realizing that the school is not going to be closing, Mr. Malfoy like barges in and is like upset about shit, because he is actually the one who placed Tom Riddle's diary inside Ginny's cauldron. Like that's why he took the book out of her cauldron apparently. And he's a Death Eater, which is those are the people that works for Voldemort. And he claims that he's returned to the good side, but like after acting like that, I don't believe so. And he has a lot of power over the Ministry, so like nothing you can really do about it. So, but like we don't have evidence that whatever it was, Lucius, or not Lucius, his name is Lucius, but we'll just call him Mr. Malfoy, did not really accept that, not really like say that I was the one who put the book inside Ginny's cauldron. So we can't do anything about that. But Harry did manage to trick um Lucius, or Mr. Malfoy, into giving into giving Dobby Harry's sock, by putting it in between the book pages of the Tom Riddle's diary. And Lucius, oh my god, Mr. Malfoy tries to hurt Harry, but Dobby saves him. Like, Master has given Dobby a sock. Dobby is free. That's honestly one of my favorite scenes. And Dobby saves Harry, and Harry makes Dobby promise to never like deflect spells or never try to save him ever again. And yes, that book was honestly like, even though as I said, it's not like my least favorite, but it was still like a really good book, and I would definitely say that it's a really good read. So guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you are already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting me. Bye.